We made it to mid-module review. And mid-module means we're halfway through our unit, and I want to see how well you understand our work. Let's get started. Today, we're going to review. That means we're going to look at questions that will look like what we will see on our test. Let's get started. Mr. Paul arranges 3 rows of 6 desks in his class. Draw an array that represents Mr. Paul's desk. Use an X to show each desk. Take a moment and follow the directions. If I'm going too fast, please go ahead and pause the video. We see that this shows 3 rows of 6. This array represents Mr. Paul's desks. Look at the array below. Mr. Paul adds 2 more rows of 6 desks to his classroom. Use circles to show his new desks on the array below. Here is our answer. We kept the 3 rows of 6, but then added 2 rows of 6 using circles. We now see 2 arrays that are 1. Add 2 rows of 6 to the drawing below. Fill in the blanks below to show how you added the 2 rows. Write a sentence to explain your thinking. 3 6s plus 2 6s equals 5 6s. We see 3 6s when we look at the X's. We see 2 6s when we look at the circle. But when we look at all the 6s together, we have 5 6s. Question 4. Mr. Paul has 5 rows of 6 desks. Find the total number of desks Mr. Paul has in his room. Show of skip counting. Row 1, 6. Row 2, 12. Row 3, 18. Row 4, 24. Row 5, 30. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. Mr. Paul has 30 desks. Question 5. Mr. Paul has 5 rows of 6 desks. Draw the array multiplication sentence to describe the array representing the total number of desks Mr. Paul has in his classroom. We made 5 rows of 6. An equation we could write to match this would be 5 times 6 or 6 times 5. Both will equal 30. Mr. Paul has 30 desks. Question 6. Mr. Paul takes 12 notebooks from his class home to grade. He puts 6 notebooks in each bag. Draw Mr. Paul's bags of notebooks. Here we go. We skip counted by 6. We put 6 in one bag and then circled it because there are 6 in each bag. Then we added another 6 and circled it because there are 6 in each bag. 6 plus 6 equals 12. 6, 12. So Mr. Paul only has 2 bags of notebooks. Question number 7. Mr. Paul has 2 bags with 6 notebooks in each bag. Let's write a multiplication sentence that describes Mr. Paul's bags. 2 times 6 equals 12. Question number 8. Mr. Paul places 15 books on his class bookshelves. He puts them on 3 different bookshelves. Fill in the blanks below to make a true division sentence. What does the answer represent? 15 divided by 3 is 5. The answer of 5 is how many books are on each shelf. Mr. Paul has 3 shelves with 5 books on each shelf. Mr. Paul adds 3 more identical rows of 5 books to his 3 original rows. Let's draw an array to show how many books he has now. We started with 3 shelves with 5. Those are represented with the red circles. Then he added 3 more rows of 5. So we showed that with the blue circles. Overall, Mr. Paul has 30 books. Mr. Paul has 15 old books and 15 new books. He figured out how many books he now has in his class. His work is shown in the box below. Would Mr. Paul get the same result if he multiplied 6 times 5? Explain why or why not. The equation shows 3 times 5 plus 3 times 5 equals 15 plus 15, which is equal to 30. Yes, he would have the same answer. 6 times 5 is 30, and 3 times 5 plus 3 times 5 is the same as 6 times 5 equals 30. His work shows that he understands he has 15 old books and then adds the new books, which is 15 books, giving a total of 30 books. Question 11. Miss Jones arranges 4 rows of 5 chairs in her music class. Let's draw an array that represents Miss Jones' chairs. Use an X to show each chair. We see 4 rows of 5. We used an X to show each chair. Question 12. Look at the array below. This is the same array as our last question. Miss Jones adds 2 more rows of 5 chairs to her classroom. Let's use circles to show her new chairs on the array below. We started with our original array of 4 rows of 5. We added 2 more rows using circles. Add 4 rows of 5 to the drawing below. And fill in the blanks below to show how you added 2 rows. Write a sentence to show your thinking. We started with 3 5s, and then we added 4 5s. Finally, we had 7 5s. We see the 3 5s when we look at the X's. We see the 4 5s when we look at the circles. And we see the 7 5s when we look at the entire array. Question 14. Mrs. Jones has 7 rows of 5 chairs. Find the total number of chairs Miss Jones has in her music room. I'm going to label my rows. Then I'll skip count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Miss Jones has 35 chairs in her room. Question 15. Miss Smith has 3 tables with 5 chairs in her library. Draw the array and write a multiplication sentence to describe the array representing the total number of chairs Miss Smith has in her library. Here, I made an array that has 3 rows of 5. 3 groups of 5 is total 15. 3 times 5 equals 15. Miss Jane has 15 chairs. Question number 16. Miss Jones takes 8 instruments from her class home to repair. She puts 4 instruments in each of the boxes. Draw Miss Jones' box of instruments. Here, she put 4 in one group and then circled it because we know she puts 4 instruments in each box. Then she counted 4, 8. It would only take 2 groups for her to count. 4 times 2 equals 8. Miss Jones had 2 boxes with 4 instruments in each box. Oh, I accidentally shared that a little early. 2 groups of 4 equals 8. Question 18. Miss Smith places 16 new books on her library tables. She puts them evenly on 2 different tables. Fill in the blanks below to make a true division sentence. What does the answer represent? 16 divided by 2 equals 8. The answer of 8 is how many books are on each table. Miss Smith has 2 tables with 8 books on each table. She adds 2 more identical stacks of 8 books to her 2 original tables. Draw an array to show how many books she has now. In the first array, we see 2 rows of 8. Then we add an identical 2 rows of 8 after that. They are separated on 2 tables. Miss Smith has 32 books now. Miss Smith has 18 new books and 12 old books. She figured out how many books she now has in her library. Her work is shown in the box below. Would Miss Smith get the same result if she multiplied 5 times 6? Explain why or why not. The equation says 3 times 6 plus 2 times 6 equals 18 plus 12, which equals 30. Would she have the same work or answer if she multiplied 5 times 6? Yes, she would have the same answer. 5 times 6 is 30, and 3 times 6 plus 2 times 6 is the same as 30. So it's the same as 5 times 6. Her work shows that she understands she has 12 old books and then adds the new books, which is 18 books, giving a total of 30 books. That's that, scholars. Those are some quick samples of the questions you may see on our test tomorrow. Do your best. Make sure you're writing everything out, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.